Today we are on the move. We are doing pros and cons of living in Colorado Springs 2024 style.
Yeah, we're updating.
We're going to give you the honest opinion of, there's a big step, hang on, of living in Colorado Springs. The view in front of us is spectacular, so wait till you see it. We're going to give you the honest review, something you can't just hop online and Google. You actually have to talk to people who live here. We've got this from our clients.
We have quite the list.
Quite the list of things. So if you're thinking of moving to Colorado Springs, this is a video you're going to want to watch from beginning to end because it's something you need to prepare for when moving to the area. Let's go. Oh, the helicopter is moving in. It's kind of,
that's fun.
We're right by the Air Force Academy, so
right behind me is Pikes Peak. We have U.S. Air Force Academy right behind me this way. There's a lot of airplanes and flight patterns all around our city. It's actually pretty interesting, but Lori and I have a complete list, 10 different things. I just want to get to it. Let's start off with a con. And I guess this could be a pro for some people, but a con to us is it's very dry here. Go ahead and take a look at this grass. So dry, when I'm telling you it's dry, it's just hard to keep everything. It's literally high desert up here in Colorado Springs. And so when you're growing a lawn, you do have to water it quite a bit. But with that being said, as a person, you have to stay moisturized and hydrated. So drink lots of water, have your lotions, your chapsticks, water your lawn. It's very dry.
And I would say
here.
this lawn is we have to have sprinkler systems or you're not going to have green grass here. And from the Midwest, we used to have like those plush, soft grass.
Yeah,
it's
not that
like
way.
that.
Well, and it is because the sun's so intense. Like you can have more of like plush area, especially if you have a little bit of shade. But when it's straight out here in the sun, I don't know if there's a way to really keep the ground soaked enough.
I want to show them like the
areas.
plants, so you can see we have these grasses. Grasses are a good another point here in a minute, but you can see if you think about like the plants in like the south, you have lush flowers that just love that humidity. Here it's just dry, so it makes it a little bit harder. So the second one, we just talked about dryness. The second one is a pro and probably one of my favorite pros about living here in Colorado Springs. And as Kaylene's going to show you, we are close to those beautiful mountains. That is one thing. When you're coming to Denver, you can see the mountains, absolutely. But the one reason I absolutely love Colorado Springs is because those mountains are in your backdrop. I don't care if you're picking your kids up from school, if you're going to the park. My husband and I go to a walk probably a mile from our house, and that is the backdrop. It's all over our city. It's gorgeous. So the first pro is those mountains, which is to me is almost my favorite.
The last time I had a con, I want to tell you all one of my favorite pros. I know Lori loves the mountain views. I do too. But another thing I love about Colorado Springs and really Colorado in general is the outdoor lifestyle. So you have, let's see here, to get to the nearest ski mountain, probably Granby if you wanted to go I-70. What is that, Lori? About 2 hours from here?
Yeah, a little over 2 to Winter Park, yeah.
You can head down Highway 24. You could get to Breckenridge. Off of that, probably also a 2-hour commute. Monarch Mountain is also within about 2 hours. So every ski area, I would say about 2 hours here from Colorado Springs. You will literally see people hiking, biking, running. I think Lori's zooming in right now. We are actually over here in Northgate at the Ent Credit Union banking headquarters. And outdoor lifestyle and being healthy is so much a part of our community here. Even employers like this will have workout classes during the middle of the day, or you'll see people, especially working from home, take a break in the middle of the day or start their day off in the morning or the afternoon. You'll always see people out and about enjoying the weather. I don't care if it's the middle of summer or in the middle of winter in a snowstorm. People love the outdoors here.
All right, so our second con I am out here braving the elements for you guys is wind and hail. You can see that wind is coming off that front range. In the summertime, it does die down a little bit, but we do have windy days. Spring can be very windy. Fall is usually not as windy, but if you don't like wind, it's tough here. We do have wind quite a bit, but we also are having those sunny days as well. So wind is a factor. So Kaylee and I are actually filming. We kind of put ourselves in this cove here so you could actually hear us. When we go out there, you could really get a true sense of how windy it is today. And if I look at my weather app, it has a little curly cues for wind this afternoon. So I knew it was going to be windy today. Today's like in the mid 80s, and then tomorrow's supposed to be in the 70s. So I think that front's kind of coming through to cool us off a little bit. Second thing I want to talk about is hail. We do have hail. It can go from just a little cloud to downright hail without even I think when I grew up in the Midwest, it'd be like really pouring lightning and thunder before you got hail. Here we do have hail as that storms come off those mountains. I don't really know the science behind it. I have a
picture of hail from last year's snowstorm. I'll give it to you and upload it here so we can put it in. But it was literally like at least golf ball size hail.
Yes, I've lived
we have little hail too.
We have a lot of little hail, but that was last week. But I would say I lived in my house for about 10 years now, and I finally had my first roof hail claim. So I would say once every 10 years you can plan for a claim for hail, probably on your roof or your car.
And how about your garden?
My garden hardly ever makes it. Sometimes. I planted it this year, and an hour later it hailed. But it's thriving right now. I'll give you an update later. So maybe I'll send a little photo of my garden too.
Okay. So a big pro here, again, I get the outdoors. I also get to present to you guys the weather. So the weather is amazing here. We actually get 4 seasons. So you have a true 4 seasons here in Colorado Springs specifically. Sometimes over on the western slope, you kind of miss that springtime, and the fall time's pretty short. Over here on the Front Range, definitely 4 seasons, and there's no humidity. I will say the sun is a lot more intense. We were actually talking about that. We were out on our boat yesterday. We were comparing it to the Ozarks, and the Ozarks is so hot, and it's just like this heat all around you. Colorado's almost just like an intense sun, especially like when you're on the water or out in the middle, and if there is no breeze or anything, the wind actually kind of helps with that a lot. But I do absolutely love the weather. I love looking forward to the next season, but we get to enjoy 4 seasons. We get to enjoy really nice sunny summers that are warm enough to be able to go boat and swim and all of that. But then we also get the fall, which is Lori's favorite, the winter. You do want to stay active because the winter can get a little bit long sometimes. And then come springtime, it's always refreshing to see that change of weather coming around. I think that's why we have such an active community as well, because everybody likes to get out and enjoy the weather. And one thing I forgot, one fact, is we have over 300 days of sunshine even within those 4 seasons. So I'm sure in many of our videos you'll see the sun peeping through, but it really is constantly sunny here. It's never really gloomy, very few days of gloom and no sun.
So a pro here is our education system. So we have University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and we also have Colorado College here, great university systems. We actually have a really great 2-year education too. It's called Pikes State College, great option. And then for kiddos who are younger, we actually have really good districts here in the area. If you look up ratings, you'll have Cheyenne Mountain District 12, probably one of the top districts here according to ratings and scores. You also have Lewis Palmer District 38, and then we have Academy District 20 as well.
49 has good accolades.
49 has some good accolades as well. So as far as the school system goes, we really have good options for kiddos. My 3 kids have gone through school here, absolutely loved it. Actually really never had any huge problems. We do have school of choice here, which means if your kiddos don't live in a certain neighborhood, you can choose to choice them into another school, which Kayleen has done for her 3 kids.
I have new information I think maybe you should touch briefly on.
What new information do you have? You have new
a lot of people always ask about what districts have really good programs for kiddos with IEPs.
Yep.
And then another thing that also comes up quite a bit is the our calendar year for schools when we're talking.
So typically here, I would say most schools, District 49 has more of a modified year-round school, so they actually start early August. For those other schools, they're all pretty similar. We're going to start around the middle of August, probably like August 10th or 12th, I think is pretty common. And then we're done, depending upon snow days, around May 20th
Memorial
or so.
Day,
yeah, a little before Memorial Day, so obviously kids are out right now. So that's kind of what
and
we
then
look at.
IEPs.
So IEPs, that's a tough one. It kind of depends upon what the IEP is there to support. But a lot of times you hear the same school districts. District 20 does really well as far as providing support. Now I will say you probably want to live in that school district or in that school you want to go to. Getting a school of choice when you have an IEP is harder to do so. So when we're looking for homes, we want to make sure that we're actually in those boundaries. If your kid has a 504 IEP, sometimes it gets a little bit more difficult. But, you know, and we can look at that. If you want to give us a call or text, we can kind of help you, walk you through that. We help clients set up like school visits while they're out here as well looking for homes. So a lot of different options, but a pro here is really good schools, and we help clients maneuver that all the time.
Okay, so I'm here with Akan again, and to me, this is kind of a gray question. So we had on here that Colorado Springs and what would you call it, Lori? Like the Nightlife?
Yeah, Nightlife.
It's a little bit more scaled back than like a big city like Denver. So I know there was, what was that? Zach Bryan was up in Denver this weekend. I feel like everybody was going to that. Good news is you're only to downtown Denver, maybe 45-minute drive from here. But as far as having those things here in Colorado Springs, I would say there's a lot of things happening to be able to support that. So we have Sunset Amphitheater, which is going to be right up here off of I-25, kind of right behind that building.
Yeah.
That is coming, so that'll bring, we do have, what is the stadium downtown? They have quite a, like, smaller.
Oh, what is it?
I mean, Jason Aldean's coming this summer. They have Pikes Peak Rodeo or bus. There's, you know, some museums downtown and whatnot. But if you want real nightlife like a city, you really do have to go up to Denver. If you want to, I don't know, there's bars and stuff down here, but it's not like,
yeah, we have that silent disco thing now that's super trendy with young.
Oh yeah, they like that too.
Maybe if I win,
I don't get it, but I mean, if that's what you want to do, we do have one of those. I will say though, the Air Force Academy, there's a lot of Air Force games you can go to. CC hockey games, which is Colorado College right downtown, is kind of a big deal. What is the soccer team? Switchbacks?
Switchbacks,
yep. A lot of our clients love that. My kids actually just went for the first time, and they said, that's so fun, Mom, you have to go. I guess there's a lot of
we went to a Vibes
and
game the other day.
And Vibes game. And they're kind of, are they AAA teams?
Yeah.
Like Vibes are
yeah.
and whatnot. But there are things to do. It's just not like your Broncos.
A lot of
your
outdoors
Rockies.
things to do, I would say.
Oh, outdoors, there's really endless opportunities.
For sure.
You can go find, you know, little creeks of water if you wanted to go fishing. There's little lakes. I saw one of our clients was up at Palmer Lake or Monument Lake this weekend, fishing, doing Father's Day stuff. We went down to the lake, Pueblo Reservoir. So this was interesting. There were so many people out on the lake this weekend that the lake was at capacity.
Yeah.
So we had to wait until boats came off to be able to go on.
Yeah, my brother went up to the past Woodland Park. I can't remember he bought a paddleboard.
Up in Divide. Oh,
and he was
yeah.
going to take us
Catamount
paddleboarding.
Reservoir,
And they wouldn't let people in either. It was so busy.
And then there's like lots of little hikes. Like one of my kids, the ones that they like to do in the summer, one's called Paradise Cove. It's kind of up behind Divide, but if you look it up, it's amazing. It's like this little lagoon, but there's so many little hikes and excursions that you can go do with Garden of the Gods, Red Rocks Canyon, endless opportunities outdoors. But if you're talking nightlife and big city nightlife, 45-minute drive north.
So talk to us about food.
Oh, food.
It's a big thing around here is like food. Is it like,
so I come from a small town, so to me there's a lot of different
It's gotten so much better though
places,
in the last like 2
but
3 years.
Like Lori loves Indian food.
I do love Indian
and
food.
she has her favorite little spot here, but I would say on our Facebook group there have been mixed reviews with this, saying that we aren't a very foodie city. I kind of disagree.
I know people are getting little arguments about it.
What do you think, Lori?
I think that we used to, like 10 years ago, I would say no. I do think in the last 5 to 10 years, we've had a lot of restaurants that aren't chains. They're more locally owned.
Yeah.
I don't know about so much. We have some diversity in food as far as you can always find it, but whether or not you're going to have multiple options.
Or you may have to like be willing to drive downtown or drive over to the east side or whatever, because each area doesn't have everything.
Yeah.
There's certain places.
I'd say downtown is pretty well. Manitou Springs, Old Colorado City is really good for food. Up north in Northgate, they're getting a lot of new restaurants up there as well. So
I will say, like when we're working over on the west side, there's maybe just a handful of things over there. I don't know.
Yeah, and I do say, you know, look below. We have our best of Colorado Springs, and download that. We have the best we have the best of restaurants, the best of hikes, a lot of best ofs if you're best places to stay. So make sure you download that if you're thinking of coming out.
I mean, I would say we have good food options, but I do come from a very small town. It is mixed reviews on our Facebook page, though.
So this could be a pro or a con depending upon how you're thinking about it. So Colorado Springs is a medium-sized city. So if you want a big city like Denver, Atlanta, Chicago, this is probably not your vibe. We are a medium-sized city, probably around 800,000 when you talk about like Monument and Manitou Springs, and as we start to build up that Falcon, Peyton area. But so medium size, you're not gonna have everything that comes along with that size. We also have a lot of growth. So if you don't know, Colorado Springs ranked number 3 in the places to live, and we are growing. So along with that comes, you know, infrastructure, population growth, pricing, housing, which we're going to get to in a minute. So it is not a large city, but we're also not a small city either. So if you're going to come here and expect just like to have the small Colorado Springs area, you know, we are pretty spread out with multiple school districts, multiple areas of town. So it's really important to know what each area of town is like and get your vibe for where you want to live when you're moving here. So not a big city. So if you want all the amenities that come along with a big city, it might not be for you. But if you don't want a medium-sized city to, you know, live, raise your family in, whatever that looks like for you, Colorado Springs might be a good fit.
All right, so a pro, I would say, is our cost of living. I guess this is kind of a abstract question as well. It kind of depends on where you're coming from. This was interesting. So Colorado Springs compared to Denver is actually 11% less in housing, and our salaries are only 3% less. So Colorado Springs is a lot more affordable than the Denver area. It kind of, like I said, is an abstract question depending on where you're coming from. A lot of times we'll talk to people from maybe Texas, and they have, like, you know, the housing, you can afford a lot more house over in Texas than what you can here in Colorado. Kind of depends on where you're at in Texas as well. Oklahoma was a big one too. You know, when you look at our $500,000 homes compared to what you can get for $500,000 over there, it's a little bit different. I would say the biggest thing, I think people think they're going to come to Colorado and they want the land and the lifestyle and whatnot. Colorado Springs is hard because we are a mid-sized city. It's really hard to buy land. So if you want a property on acreage, you're probably going to be 1.4 million or higher when you're talking acreages. Or if you're willing to go more out east, kind of over by Peyton,
it looks a little flatter. You can still see the mountains.
700s.
Yeah.
But you will probably have a little bit of work that you have to do to some of those properties. Now, if you're wanting that like land and that farm, you're probably talking more like western slope of Colorado, some of those itty bitty towns over there. It's still expensive, but you can get more land over there if that's what you're looking for, because Colorado Springs has all of the amenities and we have a lot of developers and there's a lot of housing and growth here in Colorado Springs, and we have a lot of movement because of the military. It is a little bit more difficult to come by acreages and water. So even if you can afford the acreage, the water's kind of a big deal.
And our main reason is because those mountains were landlocked here. So
they literally like come around you.
Yeah, so you don't have a ton of land that's already been built up, and so it's a hot commodity, I will say.
And even if you do find a piece of land here and there, a lot of times, because people will drive and they'll say, what about that? What about that? A lot of times the builders or the developers will already have, like I'm thinking of like Mark Shuffle and kind
Danny
of that
Lewis.
Powers over there. That property is already bought out by some of the developers, and they're just waiting because that's their next houses to build. And so if you want land, you have to go kind of on the outskirts of town for that.
Average cost for a single family home here?
Oh yeah. Is it $550 now?
Yeah, you're close.
$540. I think it was $540 the
average.
last time that we looked. But to me, the biggest number that struck me was what you had brought up, Lori, is that our housing is actually 11% less, but our salaries are only 3% less than Denver. That's super interesting.
All right, this is what my kids would do on this railing. I'm not as good at it, but a pro and a con. We're gonna go all the way
You
down.
might fall.
A pro and a con is a fit culture. So we're a very fit city compared to other places. So if you can look up there, I think we showed it earlier in the video, but people are now doing, I don't know what, I see their legs in the air. They're doing some type of ab work, core. Yeah, they're doing some core work up there. But people are always working out. They're really fit because we have so much access to the outdoors. People love.
Are we atypical?
Well, I do rock box.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm
every
planning
day.
some hikes for the 4th of July.
Yes, there is a
And-
very. Oh, look, there's a guy walking over there too.
Yeah, they just go out for walks because there's hikes and there's trails all over our city. Mountain biking's huge. People just love the outdoors here, and I think people are really friendly here. But we're gonna do another video here in a second where we're gonna debate that a little bit. But we're a very fit culture. People wear their Patagonias and their North Face jackets. I call it kind of granola. I don't think we're very fashionable either.
Well, here's
People
my
dress
thing,
like
though.
me. Like I think I'm overdressed. People always wear like leggings and like all their go hang out in Breckenridge and Vale and look at the shops there. That's all outdoor gear. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
Pros and cons, but we're very fit. So that's our video on the pros and cons. So
updated version.
updated version. We just want to give it to you, like we've heard from our clients and what we've experienced living here. So if you have any questions, make sure to reach out. We'd love to help you make the move. We help hundreds of families do it each year. I think we have 13
transactions
under
I
contract
counted.
right now. So we'd love to help you make that move. We're good at what we do. We have 5-star reviews. We do it all the time, so we know our stuff. So make sure to reach out and give us a call. Put those numbers into your phone and give us a text.